Goals. Am I right? As a Gen X baby, I was brought up with the belief that if I wanted to be successful in life, goals were the way to go. I mean, studies proved that those who were most successful were the people who set goals. And even as I embarked on this brilliant coaching journey, God, almost 20 years ago now, it was all about the goals. We help our clients to set the big goals, to plan for the big goals, to take the massive amounts of actions for the goals, to get feedback along the way, to adjust, to achieve the goals, to celebrate, and then set the next goal. And I have to say that whilst in that game, I absolutely loved it. So if you are still in a phase where goals is your jam, honey, spread that baby all over this army and indulge. But I came to a space in my life where goals just weren't inspiring anymore. I don't know. Maybe it's because I got to a stage where I didn't feel like I needed to prove anything anymore. I didn't want to chase anything anymore. I didn't want to take the massive amounts of action. I didn't want to be in my dominant masculine energy, which is what goals are all about. Goals is a beautiful masculine modality. It's very singularly focused. It is about massive amounts of actions. It's about that drive. It's about the force. It is about all the things that are so deliciously masculine. But when you start exploring the feminine energies that are available to us at this time, at all times, never went away, something shifts inside of us. And all of a sudden, goals are just goals. And instead, what we are seeking in the feminine energy is creativity, is exploration. It's the being of who we are. So my invitation to you is to start having a look at where in your life it is feeling as though goals are no longer the best way forward for you. And then what if instead of setting goals, you allowed yourself to experiment with life? You allowed yourself to become radically curious again, the way you were when you were a small child. In fact, the way I'm experiencing life is we are born as children so exquisitely wrapped up in our own delicious perfection. So we're not focused on fixing ourselves or healing ourselves. And what we are is curious, first of all, about our own selves. We get into these bodies and we're like, oh my God, here's this thing that's stuck to me and I can move it and I can touch myself. Oh, I have a body. It's the soul exploring this delicious creation called body. And then as we become a little bit more comfortable in our own bodies, we learn how to sit up and we learn how to move and we learn to explore. We become insanely curious about our environment and the world. We stick our fingers in places we shouldn't be sticking them in because we want to see what happens if I touch this, if I taste this, if I pull this. It's just curious for no reason other than to figure out ourselves in relation to this and how my presence changes this, the world, my world, the people around me, without any judgment or attachment. And then we go on this adventure called social conditioning. And we are conditioned to stop becoming curious and instead learn what others tell us, how they tell us to behave, what to believe, how things work according to somebody else. And we seem to lose our curiosity. We seem to lose our hunger for exploration. And all of a sudden we become hungry for information. But have you noticed that the hungrier we become for information, the more we seem to think that there is something wrong with us? Because we never quite fit into what we are told is the perfect woman or the perfect man mold. And so we try and fix ourselves so that we can be that completely unrealistic image of self. And then if we are fortunate enough to age, we go around the moon back to ourselves, back to appreciation of my perfection as Elle, not my perfection of the woman somebody thinks I should be, the leader somebody thinks I should be, the CEO somebody thinks I should be, the mother somebody thinks I should be, the partner somebody thinks I should be. All of that becomes irrelevant as we come into this phase of life of rediscovering and recreating ourselves. Now, in my book, Mastering Self-Leadership, which is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and a whole bunch of places, really the easiest place to find this is on my website, ellenaj.com, and I'll put the link down for you. But in key number 3, I talk about the artist archetypal blueprint, because what I have discovered is that there is a format for creation. And if we create in fear, we have one experience of creation. And if we create from love, from divinity, we have a very different experience. But it all is created by us. The experience is created by us. And as sacred, sovereign artists of self, we also get to create ourselves. And as we do so, we become curious again. We become curious about our own creative powers. And rather than setting goals, we start dabbling in experimentation. For me at the moment, and I just started it this week, I've decided to experiment with what happens if I embrace a plant-based diet. Not diet as in restriction, just way of eating. And I'll keep you guys up to date with that. I know that I will be okay, regardless of what the outcome of the experiment is. And so I have a new willingness to experiment. And what this brings, my friend, is a sense of ease. It brings back a sense of fun. Ooh, wow, really? That happened? Oh, really? That happened? Adjust. Let's change. What else can we try? What else can I do? How else can I create? Because I honestly believe that this is what life is for. is for us to be active and intentional creators. It's why we are here. But for the most part, society is still caught up in active replications. When I hear people going, I will show you my exact steps so that you can get the same results, I run away. Because I didn't come here to replicate somebody else's results. I didn't come here to just paint by somebody else's numbers. And I know that for some people that is still the way, but it's not the way for me. And if you are still listening to this, I am pretty sure it's not the way for you either. So what if you gave yourself permission to drop the goals and to start experimenting in life? Who would you be as that person? What would float your boat? What would really pique your curiosity? What are you genuinely interested in finding out next? Of yourself in relation to the world, the impact that you have on life through your choices. And what would it feel like to be the person who knows that they are so safe that they can, in fact, start experimenting in life? That is something I invite you to delve into, to journal about, to meditate on, and let me know in the comments, if you dare, what comes up for you in this conversation. Goals, experimentation, the choice is always yours. I'm just giving you a new level of awareness that both of these are available.
That's it for today's episode of The Masterpiece Effect. But your transformation doesn't stop here. If something resonated, challenged you, or sparked a new insight, I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts. Connect with me at ellenaj.com. And if you found value in this conversation, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because life's too short for mediocrity. Let's create a masterpiece. See you next time.